Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to talk about a very important topic for every saxophone player, the embouchure. For everyone who doesn't know, the embouchure is basically how our lips and our mouth have contact with the reed and the mouthpiece. It's very important to have a good embouchure because it greatly affects our intonation, our sound, and also the ease of play. In this video, I'm going to cover 3 topics. The first thing is an exercise I like to call the Nutcracker Exercise. I often do it with my students, and I find that this exercise can really help to find a natural embouchure for yourself. The second part is the lower lip, because it has kind of a special role, and I'm going to talk about a tip that Dave Liebman gave me about the lower lip some time ago. And in the third part, at the end of the video, I'm gonna reveal a little secret about Wayne Shorter's embouchure that is not very well known. So stay tuned. In my first year in college, I attended a workshop with Jerry Bergonzi, one of the great saxophone players of our time, and the student asked him about his approach to the embouchure. And Jerry Bergonzi's answer was that what he's basically doing is he opens his mouth, he puts the mouthpiece into his mouth, and everything stays as natural as possible. And this idea really stuck with me over the years, and time again I found that this is a really good way to do it. So from this I developed the Nutcracker Exercise, which is basically going like that. First you do this exercise only with the mouthpiece and the neck. You let your lower jaw drop and very slowly let the mouthpiece come to your mouth. Make sure to keep your jaw completely relaxed and notice any tension that might occur. Once the mouthpiece is in the right position, close your mouth and try to really not change anything and see how that feels. Now just try to play a note. This new position might feel a little bit strange to you at first. In my experience, many students have their lower teeth and their lower jaw a little bit to the back, and with this exercise it's coming a bit further to the front, so that the upper teeth and the lower teeth are actually more aligned and more as it would be in your natural position. So just take some time to get used to it. I would suggest to you that you include this exercise in your warm-up routine for at least 3 months, and also try it later with the whole saxophone, not only with the neck and the mouthpiece, and see if it brings you any improvements on your sound. Next, I would like to talk about the lower lip. And Dave Liebman, one of the greatest saxophone players of our time and also one of the most accomplished saxophone educators ever, gave me a really good tip for the lower lip. Before I heard about this from Dave Liebman, my lip looked like this. And afterwards my lip looked like this. So he basically told me to take out my lower lip much more, and I found that this really had a huge effect on especially the second octave. It sounded much thicker and fuller, and also was in a way easier to play. If you want to try this out at home, I would advise you to stand in front of a mirror so you can really check how far you have your lip out and then compare. So take the lip out a lot. It should really feel like you exaggerate. Then play, for example, a G major scale up to the high D and compare this to how it sounds with your normal lip position. By the way, I found a really cool clip of Joshua Redman playing some really high notes on the saxophone, and look at what his lip is doing. I think he knows something there. Okay, so now it's time to reveal our little secret about Wayne Shorter's embouchure. Probably you all know Wayne Shorter. He's a musical genius. He played with Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers, later joined the second legendary Miles Davis Quintet, and is one of the leading voices in jazz ever since. Look closely at the coming video and especially take a close look at the embouchure. Did you see it? There's basically no movement in the embouchure, which could be described as a perfect example. Of course, that doesn't mean that you're never allowed to move your embouchure, but it's kind of an idea to keep in mind, because as a beginning saxophone player, you often tend to move your embouchure a lot, and actually most of the adjustments can be done by the tongue and the throat and don't need to be done by the embouchure. And the steadier you can keep the embouchure, the more even your sound will be and the better your intonation will be too. Okay guys, I hope that these tips helped you a little bit. Just be patient if you try them out and always listen to what kind of effect it has on your sound. It might take a while to get used to these changes, especially if you play for a few years already. I can really notice it. If I change something on my embouchure, it takes me a very long time to get used to it just because I play for such a long time already. I hope you liked this video. If you did, leave a like, and if you want to see more of this kind of content, make sure to click the subscribe button.